Cool. Hey, we're in, which is great. So as a quick introduction, my name is Andrew. I go by Titus online. Here with Joe, my good buddy, pretty good buddy. His username on most things is possibly Joe. And I decided and Joe jumped on board that we wanted to do another gameplay podcast that will be thrown into the void because who's hasn't had that idea yet? Especially in quarantine, just bored, wanted something to do. And so we're here and we're going to talk about everything from video games to, current world events, politics, relationships, life, just, how being an adult is terrible, mostly. Yeah, strong, controversial opinions only. We don't do anything half-assed here. And so, right now, today, we're going to play World of Final Fantasy, which is kind of a niche game that I don't think very many people played. So I know why I got into the game, but Joe, I remember this game coming out, and we both were like, this game looks great. Why did you want to play this game? That means that's from any Final Fantasy. We're not talking like sides or main lines. This is your first Final Fantasy, period. Oh, right, yeah, back in college. Oh, yeah. He's terrible. Get him out of here. Yeah, that was also back in... Man, that was so long ago. I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Ladies and dummies first.
Who's here?
Oh, right, yeah. Because I made you. No. That was, yeah, that was Thousand Year Door.
Yeah.
Victory!
So not... Did you play Crystal Chronicles when it was out? When it came to GameCube? Oh God, you would specifically love Tactics. Where am I going? That way. Okay. Okay. So I've played so many Final Fantasy games. It's almost all of them. Yeah. I still need to finish 6. I started a Twitch Let's Play of 6, and I never finished it because I'm terrible. And I really need to go back and revisit it. But like my first experience with Final Fantasy was the NES because my grandpa had it, and so I was like, this is cool. Getting my ass beat by some squirrels, but this is cool.
This won't take long.
No kid gloves for you.
Okay. So. Mm.
No trouble at all.
Oh yeah!
Gotcha. Oh, like on the PC first release Doom.
Warned us about.
Yeah.
Can't seem to imprison them. This would be tricky.
That's interesting because I was gaming since I can remember. I lived with my grandparents for a while, with my mom, and my grandpa always had a system around. We had an NES, we had a Sega, we had a Super Nintendo. I mean, he likes gaming that he got what's called the Sega Channel. I don't know if you know what that is, but it was literally this cartridge that goes into the Sega and connects to a coaxial cable modem, and your cable company would give you a selection of games. Yeah. So I mean, I've been playing games for forever. Yeah. My mom loves Super Mario 64. Can't figure out this puzzle. I'm so bad. Hey! Yeah, I know, but I have to get to the fire first, and I don't know how to get there. I'm terrible at this. I play so many video games, and I can't figure out a simple Pokemon slide puzzle. Oh, I'm so dumb. There it is. You know, I actually like slide puzzles. I'm really not that. I don't really hate them so much, but other than that. Huh. Oh, so you do physics. You do equal and opposite reaction. Okay. I have to get in front of this golem, and I can't remember how to do that. Anyway, so yeah, back to we've been gaming for forever. So yeah, I've been gaming for a long time, and I mean, just from the Twitch name, I just have a special attachment to Final Fantasy games, and specifically, I really like JRPGs. So Joe, I really actually don't know what your favorite like game genre is, because you do play a lot of JRPG style games, but you really like puzzle games too. I'm gonna go crazy trying this, and just trying to talk and do it at the same time. I bet you it is, and I bet you I'm gonna kick myself as soon as I do it. This is why I don't play puzzle games, because I have this complex of, well, I want the game to be smarter than me, and no one can know I suck at this puzzle, so I'm just never gonna play puzzle games. All right, we could do that sometime, sure. Well, instead of that, let's just talk about like what's your top 5 favorite games of all time. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good game. Very good game. So what happens if you take the nostalgia glasses off? Because we all know nostalgia glasses are a big deal. You would say Origami King would be your favorite if it wasn't for the connection that you have. Gotcha. Yes, please, for the love of God. Oh my God! I've been trying to do this and it's not even solvable. I'm so stupid. Good gamer. Been gaming for 20 years, baby. Longer than that. Let's go.
wolves. Must be a pack. They're not going to leave us alone unless we show their leader who's boss.
Right. Let's go find that scruff ball and turn him into a nice scruffy prisonarian.
Interesting. So actually, the first time you had me play Thousand Year Door, I didn't really care for it. But after it kind of grew on me, it's actually a really good game.
We did it!
Oh, right!
Yep.
What? Hey, stop running!
They certainly... Gimme, gimme! Gimme, gimme!
It has some good stuff in it, though.
They certainly like giving us a hard time.
Yeah. That's good. So Thousand Year Door is your favorite game. So can you name number 2? Right. Yeah. So let's go ahead. Yeah. Pokemon. Just Pokemon. Just stamp Pokemon. We're done. We're good. All right. Emerald is very good. Even though it has no story. I think I'm more interested in the next one. Like, I think that's where my interest is in Zelda, is because maybe they do more with it. At least I hope. That took way longer than I would like to admit. So yeah, we got Thousand Year Door, Pokemon, Zelda, Mass Effect. Okay.
He's huge!
Is that the Mirage's leader?
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard
Let's go
overall.
after him.
It's not okay. More slide puzzles. Fuck. Well, I mean, it was so controversial that they had to patch it. I mean, I watched Kurt play Mass Effect back in college. Right. Yes. I need that treasure chest. Like, fundamentally the same. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Good. You mentioned it. I was hoping I didn't have to remind you of it. Right. Yep. Can't forget Xenoblade. Can I get up there? Okay, so I'm just stupid. That's just what's happening. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good to know. Oh no. Oh no. No crap. All right. Yeah. 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 I know why it holds significance. But go ahead. Right. So interesting thing is, I you don't necessarily remember this, but I remember this. Is I told you about this game. I was like, dude, this is an RPG on the Wii. It seems like it'd be up your alley. It's really neat, and you did buy it and you played it for a little bit, and then college stuff, and we were into other games and I guess that's true. I guess that's true. So, and then yeah, and then you met your husband over, and bonded with your husband over it, and so it was pretty cool. And I was kind of like, ha ha, I told you about that game. That's cool. I mean, it's pretty under the radar type of game because it was on the Wii. Like, who's like, hey, have you seen this JRPG on the Wii? Yes, that's right. Yep, yep, yep. No, it did very poorly. I need someone with Smash. Eventually, maybe. Who knows? Yeah. So, to break it down again, just so we have a list. Thousand Year Door, top favorite game. Zelda, Pokemon, whichever is first, what have you. They're pretty close. Mass Effect, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Xenoblade. Okay. Yeah. I can actually name I'm pretty sure I can name my favorite games from most series. I could do about 5 or 6. I'm pretty sure. I hope. Oh, and then just favorite games to play that I just have really resonated with me, or that I just really really enjoy. Which one has Smash? Does Minotaur have Smash? I think he does. He has Smash. Yep. All right. He has Smash. We're good. We're good. We're good. Um. Horizon Zero Dawn. Absolutely. That game is incredible. It's one of the best games I've played ever. Period. It was so good. Right. Yeah, so I would go off and just do all of the side quest stuff, and you're like, no, you need to do the story. The story is good. I'm like, but the side quests. Yeah, yeah. I did a lot of it. So that game is so good. I mean, come on. So then after that, it it's hard. It's hard because like my tops are like all JRPGs, every single one of them. Just because it's just the game that I like. And so it's probably my next favorite game probably got knocked down because of another game in the series, which really, really sucks, but it is what it is. But Kingdom Hearts 2 would probably be next. It's just an incredible game. I'm going all the way to the top list first. Yep, I'm going up. Yep. So, yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn has made such an impact on me that it is absolutely in my top list, even with all the JRPGs and all that stuff. Like, it is that good. And so, after that, I would say that Kingdom Hearts 2 would be probably next on the list. It kind of suffers from the fact that it had so much waiting on Kingdom Hearts 3, and Kingdom Hearts 3 turned out to be big poo-poo. Big poo-poo. But Kingdom Hearts 2 by itself is still an incredible game. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. There's like the secret little guys here. After that would Dragon Quest 8 is really good. I just played 11 and I like the Dragon Quest series overall is very, very good, but 8, kind of like you had the special place for Thousand Year Door. 8 is the first one that I really played, and so it's the one that like I just love. It's just so good. So we're on 3. Because Dragon Quest would be number 3. So number 2, okay, so this is where it gets rough. Number 2 would be my number 1 game if I took nostalgia glasses off. But my second favorite game of all time is Persona 5. That game is so good. So much that I've played it twice like a big dummy. or it's way higher. And then, of course, my favorite game of all time, because of the name, is Final Fantasy X. It's my first real Final Fantasy that I played that I really understood. Like, when I played other Final Fantasies when I was a kid, it's like, oh yeah, hit button, hit monster, win game. That's great. But it was a game that I actually understood the story. It was a complex story. It was just overall just really, really, really good. And so... But taking the nostalgia glasses off, I do recognize some of 10 has some problems. There's some issues here and there that it just suffers from age. It was 2001, before Square Enix was Square Enix. It was still Squaresoft. But Persona 5 is so good. Oh my gosh. The music, the style, the art, the battle. It mixes the capturing stuff with the turn-based stuff. And it's just, so good. Right, because you watched him play it for a little while, right? Okay. Yeah, man. Interesting. Because I actually kind of have a difficult thing of thinking of honorable mentions. Like, I know what my tops are, but then, oh, I guess I could think of a couple. Yeah, I could probably think of a couple. Game is very good. Game is very good. that guy! He got his game that he wanted! Yay! Yeah. Man, it's very good. It's very good.
We got you now, Furface.
Lon, wait!
Oh, Hades is good. Talk about a game I haven't visited in a while and I'm very, very bad at. Hades is very good.
I don't want to get wolfed down! I don't believe it. Did the wolves lure us here? No way.
What is it, sis?
Could it be? These wolves have more brains than you?
Where did that come from? That's cold pointing at
Yeah.
me every time something goes wrong.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, well, an
There's a
icicle
lot of
is
games that I'm just like,
crazy icicle
I can
game.
play this for a little bit,
Icicle is the
and I'm gonna put it down.
Um,
'Cause I don't.
guys, maybe you should save it.
I think one of the honorable mentions that I bring up a lot when we discuss video games that I really, 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 really enjoyed was the Mega Man Battle Network games.
Okay.
Because I mean those are games that like I played a ton. It was like the next game I played next to Pokemon in terms of like being on the Game Boy Advance, and I could take it with me everywhere. And like the platforming one,
Good job.
or Battle Network. Classic Mega Man's very difficult. They're very hard. Yeah, I understand that. I'm not very good at them either. So, well, it is what it is.
Hey, that was fun.
Well, that's the one way to do it. Refia, are you okay?
True. Yeah. And what's really
Once we're out of here, Cerrone is
What's-
going to skip away.
what's really fun about Portal is, you know, I watched my buddy play Portal, and then I played Portal, and I played Portal on the PlayStation 3. Before I played it on... Yeah, I played it before it was on PC. And then I got to college, and all these, you know, all my nerd friends are like, "You play Portal?" Like, "Oh, I'll play it on PC." And I played again, and then my child loves Portal. Like, Logan loves Portal. He thinks it's hilarious. So much so that we try to find mods in Minecraft that have portal guns because he thinks it's hilarious. Like, it's so cool to see that evolution of like of games that you've played and how they affect the people around you. Yeah. Yep. All right. I think I can do 28 with my level 60 lane and... Oh! It's so cute! Oh my god! Shit! I don't know if I do! Uh-oh, that's not good. People are saying they can't hear you. That's not good at all. That's really not good. Let's figure that out real fast. Yeah, I didn't change any settings on anything. Yeah, if you want to check audio on stream, this is why this is gonna be raw and unedited when I upload this. So I mean, like, I'm gonna take the VOD and upload it, and then stuff like that. So that's interesting. Okay, well that's so I had a 30-minute conversation with myself, which is awesome for being the first time we fucking do this. And we just tested it yesterday, and everything worked fine. That's a little frustrating because we did. Oh, absolutely. This is absolutely episode 0. This is a Twitch exclusive that doesn't get uploaded. Oh, that's so frustrating. I wonder why that is. Why is it doing that? I thought I had it. Alright, well, you know. Oh! I know why. I think I know why. Output device. Alright, go ahead and talk, Joe.
Talking. I am doing the talking test. Yep, I got it.
So here's why. I restarted my computer, and when I uploaded, I did Discord. It set Discord to go through the certified version of my headphones instead of the correct setting, and so now it's fucked. So, hi, welcome to Raw Talkin It. 30 minutes in, and we've discussed a bunch of shit. And
No, you should have introduced it as "Welcome to this new podcast where we pick up every conversation 30 minutes in progress."
Oh, that's great, because we literally just tested it yesterday. We spent like, what, 30, 40 minutes testing it yesterday, and was like, oh yeah, everybody hears everything, everybody, like, we adjusted the game volume, we did all the stuff, and now it's like, we've been going for 30 minutes. Thunder let me know 4 minutes ago that he couldn't hear you, and I'm like, oh.
That's funny.
So episode 0, a blooper reel that will get uploaded into YouTube, and it will literally just say episode 0, and it'll just be the 30 minutes in, and everyone goes, ha, look at the dummy who doesn't know how to do the recording stuff.
Andrew, you're so bad at marketing. No, this is a Patreon exclusive.
Patreon? Oh my god, please subscribe to our Patreon channel that we don't have, and I'll show you one nipple. I'm not going to tell you what nipple or whose nipple, but I will show you one nipple only on OnlyFans, patreon.com/ I don't know. I ran out.
This is our running joke, Andrew. We just constantly tell people to subscribe to our Patreon or whatever, and
we just never have one.
I totally didn't steal that gag from a different podcast I listened to.
Absolutely right. It's like this has been done 1,010,000,000 times. So that's great.
I do have your Prismtunity for this thing though. And you should be able to do it as long as you have a good low level thing.
I might have to unstack everybody though, just to make sure I don't kill him. But he is high. He's decently high level.
He's a level 20. You need to land a crit.
I've been doing that left and right, so I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, and there are RNG crits. So if you unstack with your like basic thing and just keep going for the RNG crits, you'll eventually get.
Well, my lawn has crit plus on him, so he should be able to crit more.
Probably shouldn't attack him.
Yeah, that's probably true. Cool. So. Anyway, luckily I actually summed up the list of all your favorite games and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Luckily, but no one got to hear you talk about them, so that's fun. We are professionals. This is why this is just two friends doing this, and not someone who's like, all right, I got all my equipment and I spent all this money to do this stuff. And it's like, nah, Discord's dumb, and I just forgot to hit the button that tells it to do the thing.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
How adorable is this thing's name? Ponini?
It is not the most adorable. I think this actually might be the earliest Maxima exclusive, though. So you've picked a good time to like resume this game.
All right. So let's unstack, and let's just attack it.
Yeah, and you can heal him too.
Oh! Oof. Why did that thing hit so hard?
I mean, it's a late game thing. Use your flam choice.
I'm gonna defend.
Like, everything else should probably just not attack it.
Oh, we got it! We got the crit!
There you go.
All right.
What do you know? Obviously, if you keep doing it, that effect stacks, and so you may need like, and the effect may go away. So keep attacking with Flam just in case.
Right. Yep.
Oh, you already have Mel. Mel was the other Maxima one.
Yeah, I have Mel already. I got him very early.
Mel I used all the way through my Maxima playthrough. I didn't finish, but Mel has been in like every stack. I have always had him active the entire time.
Oh, by the way, that's why it killed it, is because I still had the Tonberry one stacked.
Oh.
So, anyway, now to just completely restart and talk about everything that we did talk about before. We won't do that. That's
I was gonna say I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that.
That's not what we're gonna do. So we were discussing. What were we discussing? Oh my god.
Before we got to Ponini, I think we were discussing just talking about obviously talking about Portal aging up.
Yes.
Well.
So games that age really well.
Yeah, and we hadn't hit. I was gonna bring up other puzzle games I like, but we hadn't gotten past Portal aging up really well.
And I was actually gonna mention your favorite game. It has aged actually really, really well.
Oh yeah, Thousand Year Door still doesn't look bad graphically yet. It definitely is lacking in a few areas, but not like everywhere. They're definitely like it has aged, but nothing insane. It's so Paper Mario is so heavily stylized that the only Paper Mario 64s and Sticker Star have aged poorly because they were on such low resolution systems that it's just hard for Paper Mario for an N64 game to really look that good.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, but like they just don't look that good anymore.
Oh, he crit me.
And you can heal him too if you want to make sure that you don't.
What's the speed up button? Do you remember?
It's one of the L's, I think. But one of them is also like auto battle.
There we go. Okay.
You should be able to set.
Got it. Let's go.
I think this game also supports just like auto speed up. You can just like set the battle speed higher, I think. Which I did on my maximum playthrough.
Oh my god, that thing is so cute.
He's really good. He also
really good. Holy cow.
He doesn't have any transformations either, so you don't have to worry about getting like a different form. It's just the one, and that's it. I loved Ponini, and I used him for most of my run as well. Like I said, I did almost exclusively Maximum Mirages on mine. And there are some really, really, really good ones. Drama is my favorite, and is definitely going to be your favorite. But you don't get him for a while.
I think so. This game is so good. I wish more people would have played this game. I think this game is.
I talk this game up all the time to anyone who will listen to me because I think it is a diamond in the rough. For sure.
I really agree because it does so much, and it's just so lovable. And all the character is great. It has humor. It has drama. It has some really good mechanics in it.
Yeah, it's like it really gets across the like. We are the game is very much
self-aware.
a silly Pokemon-esque monster capturing game.
Yep.
While at the same time, definitely being a JRPG.
Yeah, and having things that you grew up with, Final Fantasy games. I mean, I recognize a lot of these characters. It's like it's great to throw all this stuff in there. Oh, apparently we're on Chapter 7. I didn't know that.
And yet, I, as someone who never played Final Fantasy, I knew what a behemoth was, and I think vaguely what a Tonberry was.
You still love the game from not playing a single one, which is crazy.
Mostly because I love Lon.
It really shows. Yeah, he's great. It really shows how good this game actually is.
Yeah.
Welcome to Saronia.
Agreed.
Thank you for
And also Tama so grew on me. I
hated Tama at first. Yeah.
Yeah, and yet by the end of it, I totally didn't care. Tama was the best thing ever.
I agree. Tama is fantastic.
Well, let's talk about other good puzzle games. So we have to talk about Myst.
So that was fun. To keep everybody in the know here, Joe's last year birthday that we did, we all got together, had a bunch of pizza and beer, and just played Myst for
on a big ass
6 hours.
Yeah.
But we beat it.
Yep.
We beat Myst.
I knew a couple things, but it had been so long since I'd revisited it that I effectively only knew a little bit. So I just mostly kept my mouth shut when that came up. But I had last played it when I was like 12 or 13, and so like, I didn't remember anything. And then we put it on the big screen, and at the beginning I just let everybody explore, and I didn't say anything because I knew the base section of the game really well, and so I just let people play.
Right, so that was
and
my
I just
first
watched.
time ever playing Myst, and
Yeah.
it was enjoyable. Well, I gotta say, it was a little frustrating in some parts when you get really, really stuck, but overall, the game was super enjoyable, and I had a lot of fun with it.
I would highly recommend, like, it definitely does. It's not even a game that like looks good or looks bad.
It doesn't
Like-
look great, but it doesn't...
Well, but like it's one of those things where you definitely know it doesn't look amazing, but you don't really mind, and it is definitely it was so historically important, like literally the best-selling video game for like a decade.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was massively important, and so it's such a big deal. I believe it was the best-selling video game until Doom came out.
Was it before Doom?
Oh yeah, let me look up, since I have access to my computer and I don't have a camera on me.
I can just type stuff in because I'm a lonely pleb.
I know.
No, you have to keep
From the
playing.
next road over.
I mean, there's
Um,
talking
yeah,
right
well,
now. So December
no,
10th, 1993 is for Doom.
Myst released September 24th, 1993 on Mac OS. So it was very, very, very close together, and let's see.
Now I'm starting to see.
I mean, Wolfenstein 3D was 92. And Wolfenstein's a pretty well-known game.
Yeah, that's true.
But I
Listen,
mean, that's really all we had. Back then, PC games weren't really a thing. It was all Super Nintendo at that point, right? Oh! Oh my god, Super Nintendo! Chrono Trigger! Fuck!
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Quest is either Dragon Quest or Chrono Trigger, and I have to pick Dragon Quest because there's only one Chrono Trigger, and then there's Chrono Cross, and we don't... Sorry, this is going back to the discussion about whose favorite game and all that stuff, so I guess my another honorable mention would be Chrono Trigger, because I love that game, but Dragon Quest is just significantly better because there's, 11 of them, plus spin-offs, where Chrono Trigger, we have Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross is hit or miss for some people. I personally didn't care for it. So, not to dial back on a conversation that we heard 30 minutes ago that they only heard one portion of, but it's fine. Anyway, so yeah, games, influential, Myst, go.
Myst is still the 18th best-selling PC game of all time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I remember reading this one article that talked about best-selling video games like over time.
Is that Raphael? You caught up?
And yeah, I'll have to look for it later. But yeah, Myst is a really big deal, and like genuinely, if you've got like, it is definitely worth revisiting, and I think because it is still kind of a nice cohesive experience, even though you definitely see the age.
Yeah, you see its age, absolutely.
The age doesn't
Really
really-
in frame rates and stuff on some of the parts where you're supposed to be clicking through stuff.
Yes, but it because of how the game was built, it was definitely, even if it wasn't stylized,
It's
like
playable.
because you can talk about like Wind Waker has aged up really well graphically because it was such stylized. It didn't try to utilize the peak tech of the time. It's tried to look good,
Right.
and I think Myst is actually kind of in the same boat where it wasn't. It was definitely just trying to look good with what the tech they had, and so it has aged up remarkably well for a game that is almost 30 years old. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's also like it's a puzzle game that is a little obtuse, but not like that hard, especially if you have a couple people playing. And it is absolutely approachable and beatable, like by an adult.
Yeah.
Like if you hadn't heard of it or hadn't, like you can buy it for like $1 on Steam most of the time.
He's nothing like the ones we fought so far.
It has been ported to basically every system imaginable. I'm pretty sure there's a 3DS version of
Wow,
this.
really? I didn't know that.
I think there is. I don't know how it works, but like it's basically on every platform ever made, and it is remarkably interesting and fun still. And of course, like a 30-year-old game with live action cutscenes. What?
Who knows? I mean, yeah, that's true. That's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games that there's quite a few games I can think of right off the bat that like really are like a standard or leave an impression. Myst, I mean, it really seems to be more in puzzle games. Myst is one of them. Portal is another one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm relating the two. They're like super good at just being the standard in a sense.
I think people will be and I know you haven't played it yet, but I genuinely think people will still be talking about Baba Is You in like 20 years.
So
I think it's that cool and interesting.
what about The Witness? Because that had a big release that people really liked.
I never played it myself, and I need to. It was on my radar for a long time, and I just never got around to it.
I also figured out I can fast forward to the cutscenes so we don't hear the voices of the game.
I'm pretty sure
we're
you can just
talking.
skip them, totally honest.
Well, that's okay. If people want to slow it down and read them later, that's whatever.
True. Yeah, I think Baba Is You is the most ingenious concept for a puzzle game I've seen since Portal. I think there have been plenty of other really good games, but like Baba Is You is such a unique experience and a unique gimmick, basically.
Right.
That I think is so incredibly clever. Much like Portal was. Like Portal was like nobody had done their gimmick and turned it into
the physics engine was insane for the time.
Yeah. And Baba Is You, it's not a physics engine, it's like a programming engine. It's like the impact of, because Baba Is You is all about rewriting the rules. I think it's like a programmer's best friend, because it is very much about, here are the rules, make whatever you need to beat the game, but it is very much like you have to think creatively and think outside the box in a way that a lot of other games haven't done.
So here's an interesting thing. I don't know if you know about this upcoming game, about the VR puzzle game, with the one that the things change size based on your perspective of them.
Yes, I am aware. It's actually out on Switch now, I think.
Okay, so it's actually out. I think that
so.
game could potentially be really, really cool standard of where, like, doing this thing that puzzle games haven't done before, because it's, especially in VR, if you can play it in VR.
I believe that game has been, like, technically in the works for a while now. I feel like I've been seeing trailers for that game for, like, 5 years.
We saw it at E3, right? I'm pretty sure it was at E3.
I'm pretty sure
last year.
I think it's been out it's been, like, on people's radar for a really long time. I want to say I've seen trailers up to years ago.
So, that's another kind of game where I hope it gets implemented well enough that it turns out to be something that people really talk about, because the idea seems really neat. How do I switch into the one thing?
I think it's D-pad.
It is not.
Up or down? Oh, it's switching characters.
I thought there was
there's a button for it. It might be one of the triggers or bumpers as well. There is 100% you can do it in the overworld quick.
Maybe,
and it's independent. Oh no, I think it's like trigger plus button. I think it is trigger, or I think it's trigger plus button.
We're so good at this.
No, I got this.
I got it. It's fine. I could just look at the tips while we keep talking.
Type fast.
Little Cannon Giants. L1 and circle.
I was like, yeah, it's a combo.
There it is.
Wait, this game released on Vita?
Yes, it did, actually.
Hey.
Yeah, and then it released on Switch, which is, I think, a great place for it. I think if it ever goes on sale, people should absolutely pick it up, because it's fantastic. It really is.
I bought it. That's what I played Maxima on, because I had it on PS4.
Yeah, you've technically bought the game twice. Where I bought it.
Chapter 8.
I bought it the limited edition. Like, I have the little book, which was still the same price. I think it was like a base upgrade or whatever if you pre-ordered it.
So let's see.
And then
Repia said to borrow a book.
I bought the DLC for like $20, I think. So, but I think when it came out on Switch, it was only like $30, so it wasn't that much more than I paid for it.
I want to say I paid either 30 or 40 for it.
So not much more than what I paid, which is, I mean, that's no big deal. It is what it is.
Yeah.
For a game that I love that probably didn't get enough support, I will absolutely support it, because it's just so much fun.
I wonder what Square team made this game, because I know all game studios are multiple teams of
Right.
people.
Yeah. It says in the beginning, but I can't remember. Since you're right there, you could look. But I don't know. But I'd like to maybe find out what other stuff they've made.
Because
I think actually Square just published it and let them do the names of the characters and such. Because we just got another champion medal. We just got.
they have different business divisions.
I thought we got a new champion medal, but maybe I'm insane, and we actually didn't. We don't have one yet. That's pretty cool. I'm a liar. I'm just a big old liar.
Where is it? This division that made this game also did the 10 and 10-2 remaster. It looks
Pretty
like
solid team. Pretty solid.
Well, as far as I can tell, according to this, they did in order Final Fantasy 3, 4, 5, 6, all for PC.
Oh, they're responsible for the ports.
And then they did the Final Fantasy 7 mobile / PS4, not the remake, but this classic 7 like upgrade.
Oh yeah,
And
the PS4 port with all the trophies and all the stuff. So yeah, okay, yeah, gotcha.
And then also for iOS and Android.
Oh damn, I didn't know that.
And then they did the 10-2 HD remaster, and then they did this game.
Talk about a weird decision. Square Enix does so weird things, and Max I think brought this up. Another buddy of ours brought this up yesterday, I think, about how Square just has their games on iOS and Android, but they're still like $15-$20.
Yeah.
Like you can play Dragon Quest VIII on your phone, and it costs you $20, I think, which is.
I'm actually surprised. There's a Final Fantasy wiki that just has a Square Enix category. It just has all the different business divisions and what they've done. And what I'm surprised is I don't see Octopath on here.
Interesting.
It should be in the Bravely Default and Bravely Second business division.
Right, yeah, because it's
That is the same team for sure.
that's
Okay.
we're gonna go to the main hub and do some Coliseum stuff and maybe some Girl in the Tea Room.
You are also not anywhere near, based on my list, any no more unique Maxima stuff for a little while.
Gotcha. Okay, well that's fine.
There is actually one. Sorry, there's one in the docks of this place
Oh, nice. That's good to know.
that I actually missed on my first try, and so I didn't get. It's the same family, but you get the two different forms at different times. And I missed the first one, so I didn't get it until way later. And I was like, "Oh, this is super cool!" And then I realized I had actually missed an earlier one, and it's a really good one. It's not a. It is a Final Fantasy monster I recognize, but not something I recognize well. Like, not something... I'm going to search it and see if it's actually shown up in any other game.
There's a big bridge thing to do. Do I have to do these? I can't remember.
This
is helping the Warrior of Light. I think we can do those later.
What now?
Oh, man, yeah, this particular monster... One of the forms... So... This particular monster has 3 forms.
3,
and
dang.
it's one of the 3 evolution transmogs or whatever they're called.
Yeah. Transmodify? Transmog?
I think transmog is Monster Hunter. The big form is like a monster that I think is standard across a bunch of games, and then the middle form is not in much.
Okay, interesting.
And then the little form is called the lesser of the big form. But the middle one technically shows up in Final Fantasy X, but only as a doll that Lulu has equipped as a weapon.
Oh, I love her dolls though. Her dolls are so cool.
It is the only one that is its only appearance in 10.
So the great thing about 10 that because I'm gonna go on a rant here. People love Final Fantasy VII. They have a very, very nostalgic attachment to it. It has a great story. It has cool characters. It has all this stuff. I like 7. I really do. But I don't have that attachment to it, probably because it wasn't the first one that I played. But it was the first one to also start introducing, like, you could really tell the new weapons had new models that they actually took the time to put in the game. And then you have 8, and you have 9, and then you have 10, and it's way clearer because it was on the PS2. It has more polygons and all that stuff. And like that was one of the best things was the subtle stuff that they did by making some of the Lulu dolls like new or older monsters. And I thought that was a great touch.
Yeah. By my count, this particular monster actually, boy, it has only showed up in Chocobo World, whatever that is.
It's like Mystery Dungeon. It's like Pokemon Ranger, Pokemon Mystery.
Yeah,
like,
the art they show in this article is pixels only.
Oh, that's terrible.
And then it shows up in Final Fantasy X as a doll that Lulu uses, likewise for 10-2. Then it shows up in Chocobo Racing, and then in Airborne Brigade,
Huh.
and then Art Nix, and then Mobius Final Fantasy.
Mobius is the mobile game that I think they killed.
And then it's in the TCG, then it showed up in World of Final Fantasy.
Which the TCG is, I don't know why they decided to do that. It's actually still, it was semi-popular, and then it kind of just died out. People really liked it for a little bit, and then it just kind of died.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. Its main appearance was in 8. It's a major, like, shows up a lot in 8.
Oh,
and then
okay.
all the other appearances.
Cool.
But it's like a specific thing that shows up in 8. But then it's in like nothing. It's not a recurring thing like a lot of the other monsters.
Yeah, like Behemoth and Tonberry and Bomb and all those kind of things.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Ooh, I don't know if I have fire.
So that said, that you probably won't know what it is then because you haven't played 8. Correct?
I've played 8. I never finished it because I just hated it.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it.
It's called the Moomba.
Moomba. The name sounds familiar, but I don't know for sure. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm gonna search the other, like the main form.
Talk about a hit and miss game. Some people either really love 8 or really, really hate it, and I am on I really don't like it.
Oh, the main form has been in basically every Final Fantasy game ever.
Okay, I'll probably recognize it then.
Yeah.
8 is so weird with like what it did and how it did it, and I theoretically it should still be a good game, but it's just.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Uh-oh. I don't think this guy has, like, the fire,
Blaze? It should be the little diamond icon.
Oh, this one here? I thought that was a jewel. Yeah, that's a jewel.
The little diamond icon. No, it's like a 4-pointed...
Bask. There's fire. There's balance.
No. It's the ones with the little white rings around them. That would be what it would be if it's one of them. It's not the very first one that it already has.
Oh, so
right?
fire is already... If it has fire, it'll already have it?
No, you need sizzle.
Well, we'll find out here.
I don't think you have it on that monster.
Well, that's very unfortunate.
That is in particular why one of the other Maxima ones in particular, because at the very beginning of its skill tree is the fire, electric, and ice field skills.
Oh, that's really nice.
So you just carry that guy around with you everywhere, and you never have to worry about carrying the main
You don't have to worry about flight and then smash.
Correct. There might be one more that I'm forgetting about, but yes, you've only, as far as the field skills go, yeah, you only have to worry about like 1 or 2 of them.
Yep.
So that's why I used him a lot, just because he's too good to not have around all the time.
So we talk about puzzle games, and actually, I was just kind of thinking about it. And in a game that you really love as a series that kind of was puzzle-ish and action was is Zelda. Zelda games, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Like, and everybody loves. I mean, Ocarina of Time is so good, and I can remember being a kid and getting stuck. Oh no, we're good. Okay, and getting stuck on that. Like the water temple. Oh my god!
I had to have a friend beat the forest temple for me, and then as a kid, I never beat the shadow temple.
So here's the funny thing. Actually, when I was a kid, I beat the well, I didn't say I beat it, but I got all the way to the boss of the Forest Temple. And I was like, yeah, that wasn't so bad, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I got to Ganon, Phantom Ganon.
He's hard.
I had no idea what to do. I tried, and then I had no idea. I had no clue. And I think that was right around the time where, like, Cheat Code Central was just getting popular. And I looked it up, because we had internet, and I was like, what do I do? And it's like, hit back the orb. I was like, you're kidding me. Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I think I've mentioned this, but I owned the strategy guide for Ocarina of Time.
So I borrowed one from a buddy of mine after that dungeon, because I was like, how was I supposed to know that? Well, he just keeps throwing it at you. Just swing it. Just try. I'm like, I tried running underneath him. I tried running around in circles. I tried doing all this. I tried to avoid him and see if he'd come down. Nothing. Never once did I go, I should hit the yellow orb.
Yeah, I owned the strategy guide. Still couldn't beat the boss, and never beat Bongo Bongo.
To be fair, the boss is hard.
Yeah, so as an adult, or not as an adult, I think it was in high school, I bought Ocarina of Time on, like, the Wii Virtual Console. And I got all the way back to Bongo Bongo with no trouble in the game. And I died right off the bat, because I think I was all, like, worked up and excited, and like, oh no, I'm gonna die on this Bongo Bongo fight. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And then I died. And so then after that, I left, and I was like, I'm gonna get every heart piece I can find, and I'm gonna get every power up, and I'm gonna make it so that I can't possibly lose or whatever.
He's
and then
gonna be my bitch.
Yeah, and then I smoked him and didn't, like, it wasn't even a challenge. And then I was able to finally beat the game. I think, I will say, Ocarina of Time is good. I think Twilight Princess is the Ocarina of Time formula refined. So I think that while Ocarina of Time is really good and really important and still really fun, I think Twilight Princess, like, if you were going to tell somebody, like, who's never played a Zelda game, who wants the classic Zelda experience, it's got to be Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
I think that's the best entry point to the series today.
I think that's probably... I would agree. Yeah. It's also newer, and it has more, you know, it has...
It doesn't have
all
Ocarina of
the bells
Time.
and whistles.
Well, and a lot of old games didn't signpost things very well. Right?
Oh, man.
You don't know what to do, and there's a certain amount that you obviously don't want to tell the player exactly what to do, but you do need to signpost. It needs to be a solvable puzzle, and a lot of old games just seem to rely on you just trying stuff.
Right, yeah.
And
So
always work.
Thundir in chat brings up the old 2D Zelda games, like Link to the Past and all that stuff. Like, I tried the old Zelda games on NES. I remember the gold cartridge, and I mean, I was a kid, but I couldn't beat them, so I just had no interest. I was like...
Link's Awakening's a nightmare in the classic version.
Oh, my gosh.
The remake...
Link to the Past was the first one I, like, really played.
And that was one I had to revisit as an adult. I did not play it as a kid.
Right, I played it with a buddy of mine, and we would just trade it off and on. And I mean, as soon as we died, it's like, oh, your turn, you know. And
yeah,
then,
you just had to walk around and try stuff.
Yeah, it was literally just hope for the best, maybe.
The biggest improvement that games have made is objective tracking.
Yeah, quest tracking is great.
Thing. Link's Awakening literally did almost nothing other than graphical upgrades, except for they added a slightly expanded fast travel system, because the original game had one, except how fast travel worked in the original Link's Awakening was there were like 5 or 6 different nodes that you could get to by there was like a little warp point and you could jump into it, but it was just like it was like a numbered list that you just walk through. So you would jump into the portal and go from point 1 to point 2, and then you would just turn around and jump back in, and you would go from 2 to 3. And so the new system made it so that you could choose where you went, and also added a few more of them around the map. And then also had a little thing of, here's what you're doing right now. And those very minor upgrades, I think, are such a huge improvement and it makes Link's Awakening go from a pretty good game that's hard to like hard to show people to just a genuinely good game.
Right. And some people really don't like that everything is getting remade or redone into this like newer type of thing, where they just they shove everything at it and they up the polygon, they redo all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, if it makes a classic game more accessible, what's the harm in it? And like Link's Awakening was one of those types of things. Some people be like, "Oh, you should just play the original. It's the best way." It's like, I don't know if you remember the game as well as you think you remember the game, because those were hard. Like, those were very hard games.
We're also rapidly approaching a point where not only is it inconvenient or difficult to access the original version, it's downright impossible. And, if we're going to consider video games as art like many other things, like, I was genuinely thinking about this the other day, like, you can't go back in time and listen to Mozart play one of his symphonies. Like, the only thing we have access to is other people playing the thing, and people
the sheet music and such. Yeah,
right. And so with games, obviously, there's a certain amount of intellectual property, and Ubisoft can't go out and make Super Mario 64, but like in much the same way that like I can just download a Mozart piece and play it myself, and potentially play it very well or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like we're getting to a point where eventually things are going to enter the public domain, which will be fascinating. And beyond that, we're also going to get into the point where we're like, you know what? Maybe, and I think Xenoblade's a great example of this. Original Xenoblade, great, and I still were recommending people play it up until last year. But now that Definitive Edition is out, don't bother with the original. The Definitive Edition is better in every measurable way.
Yeah. It's like, it's with Final Fantasy X. It's the same thing. It's like, no, play the HD remaster on the PS3, PS4, because it also has the additional content that we didn't get. And it also has way better, it doesn't add any of the quest tracking or anything like that, but it's like, even, let's take Final Fantasy VII, for example, on the PS4. That one's better because you can activate like fast forwarding, so you can get through battles faster and you can walk around faster. It's like, sometimes these things are actually better because they add this stuff, because we have the technology now. We have a quest tracker and we have these things that we can add. And I don't. It's just good for. I think it's just good for gaming in general.
Yeah. Two things I want to say before we continue this conversation. Number one, there's a Merc Rift in this dungeon that you will want to get. That's the one I was talking about.
Okay.
Number two, I demand that you stop and turn up the volume so we can listen to the Moogle Pirates thing when it happens.
Okay.
But no, back onto the like sort of video game things, and it's for sure possible to do this bad. Plenty of movies have done it, right? That's the thing these days.
Yeah.
We get bad remakes. Well, what we call bad. Maybe they're not actually bad, and maybe with 20 years of hindsight, we'll watch them all and go, yeah, okay, this one was actually better. And also, not to get too political here, but like there are plenty of older movies where certain stuff slid under the radar and was more acceptable at the time.
Okay, so this is actually, I don't want to segue too much on this, but my wife and I we're going to watch a movie, and we're like, let's watch a comedy. All of the Adam Sandler comedies are on Netflix. Let's watch. So we both really, really like the movie I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. It's a very good movie. Yeah. It's a progressive movie where you have this one view, and then it turns out like everything's great. But how many times they use the F word that is not fuck, is insane. And I'm like, that would literally not fly right now. I don't care what the end goal was. Like, their end goal is like, don't do this, don't say this word. It's hurtful. It's bad. I mean, it just wouldn't fly. It wouldn't be a thing.
And you can do that in a drama, in a movie where it's not supposed to be taken lightly, but in a movie that's supposed to be taken lightly, but
lighthearted.
Yeah. And some things are a little too, like, I'm going to bring this up because I saw it on Reddit today. Though, and I know this is going to be sort of a mixed bag as far as the specific opinions about it, but like, Home Alone is apparently getting remade.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Which I'm not like, I don't think that's a bad thing or a good thing. Frankly, I think the original's great, but I also wouldn't mind watching a new one. Like, I'd be curious to see how they upgrade this. Like, how are they going to solve the problem in a modern version of this story where cell phones aren't a thing? Like, I'm curious where Home Alone goes when technology is changed in
that's a really
30
good
years.
point. Like, how do you do Home Alone when there's information at everyone's fingertips
Yeah,
all the time?
A 9-year-old would totally know how to use a
was like-
computer and a cell phone.
I can pick this up and go, someone's breaking in, what do I do? Oh, call 911.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. So I'm very curious how something like that will be handled. For
I
sure.
also totally
But
forgot
then-
about this puzzle that we're doing here in this dungeon, and I hate it already.
But then the other thing was, this was months ago,
Easter.
but we were at my in-laws and Home Alone was on the TV.
Right.
And as I was watching the movie, I remember thinking, every single person in the foreground, in the background, every person is white.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, and I don't
That's a
mean-
big political turn that we're taking
Yeah.
there. So,
Yeah,
but
like,
yes.
I don't want to go too far into it, but it's one of those things where, like, I just noticed, I was like, literally every single person, like, not one person was not white, and like I said, that's an interesting thing, but I remember noticing that and being like, that is interesting. That's
Yeah.
definitely like.
Yeah. So
Um,
to wrap it back to the point is sometimes it might be a good idea to revisit these things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's everything from like political sensibilities.
Is this what I
But-
need, by the
but-
way? Is this the Merc Rift that I need?
I'm like 10 seconds behind you or whatever. Yeah, probably. I'll tell you right away if it is.
Okay. We're good.
And it'll be one of, I guess, save first. No, you can't save.
Can't
anyway,
save.
but, whatever. It'll be fine.
I won't hold back.
It's gonna be one of two things.
No, I don't think it's. I think I've seen this guy.
Yes, it's not that one.
Okay, we're good.
But I know it's somewhere in the center. But no, like it could be everything from political sensibilities to how does a story change when you move it forward in time 30 years. Like,
Yeah.
because there's all sorts of, like, I mean, dumb stuff like the movie Warm Bodies, which I know you're also a fan of.
God, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's just Romeo and Juliet. But
Yes,
like,
but it's
totally
good.
different
It's
shit.
totally in a different way that they masked it that I didn't even know. Our friend Jeff had to go, it's just Romeo and Juliet. I'm like, I do now? Like, holy shit. So,
Yeah.
So we're diving into this a little bit, so I might want to discuss it is, we'll talk about this first, and we'll bring it back to game remakes, but what about the Disney remakes?
I mean, the issue I've had mostly with them has been that most of them have been not good.
Like,
or-
Jungle Book is really good, in my opinion.
I haven't seen it. I know Jaden really likes it. I haven't seen it. And also, I was never a Jungle Book kid.
I
owned it,
hate
saw it.
Jungle Book. I think it's terrible because my favorite animal is a tiger, and the tiger is the bad guy, and I
Yeah.
hate it. But I really
yeah.
like the Jungle Book movie, the animated, the live action one.
Yeah. I saw Lion King, and it was good.
It was a movie that I've seen before that was exactly the
Yeah.
same thing.
And Lion King is one of those ones where the original, I think, still holds up and looks good enough that I don't... I want to say, well, it didn't need a remake, but, like, let's be real, it made a ton of money and was a perfectly adequate telling of the story. And also, if we're going to talk about remakes, if you were not aware, The Lion King was outright almost stolen from a smaller animation company.
Well, it's also the story of Hamlet, right?
It's Hamlet, but then also it's
Oh, that one, the brother one. What the hell's it called? It's the
Kimba.
white. Yes, Kimba the White Lion.
Yep. Yeah, and so like, so in that sense, it's not really any.
Disney seems to do that a lot, with like,
yeah.
like Book of Life and then Coco. Same kind of
Yep.
thing.
Those I wouldn't be surprised if the timeline of those where that could have been an attempted scoop in the other direction as well. Like scoops are real,
That's true.
And
That's
so-
true. Yep.
so that one I'll let
Yeah.
slide.
So let's try to bring it back. To video game remakes, adding they can really bring a lot to the table.
Yeah,
in terms
anything
of video
quality
games.
of life oriented, I think is totally acceptable to want to do that.
They can also ruin stuff too. They really can. I mean, you can only have a game remake that they botch, and you're just like, well, there's no point. Why did we do this? You know?
Yeah, yeah, no, and that I feel like for the most part, every time a game gets remade, it maybe isn't worth the price for the improvement.
I would agree with
But-
that statement. Yes. Yeah.
But I think it's almost always better. It's just, is it worth the difference in price?
Right. And to,
Almost
to,
always better.
to new gamers who have never played, it's always going to be worth it because these games could be classic, really, really good games that they now get to experience for the first time ever. And you're like, yeah, this is great. Play this remastered version because it has this and it has that and it has that. And it's like really good.
Yeah.
I forgot to get this treasure chest before I did the water stuff. And so, yeah.
I just looked up a map because I'm trying to find where the.
And I need to get. I need to get Flutter as well. That's why I'm going. That's why I'm backtracking. It's because I need to get Flutter. So.
Oh, this is just a. This map is just a screenshot of a strategy guide, which came out before Microsoft, so it doesn't have the new thing.
So we've kind of touched. What about games that do a remaster but take certain aspects of the game that might not be politically correct for the time? Do you think that should happen or not? Because I'm a very this is the art. This should be what we produce, regardless if it's good or bad for the time. I think it's good to look back and go, this is where we were, this is where we are. But that's my personal opinion. People don't really necessarily have that. But I like the art to be mostly untampered with. Adding in extra features is not tampering with what's there.
I think the problem is, and where this gets a little blurry, is when it comes down to things like, I think art as entertainment is different than art.
I just went all the way there and I forgot the Flutter. I'm so dumb.
Well, but now I don't know, because because what is a book, right? A book is also
Right.
it's for entertainment as well.
Right. So for my example would kind of be like, I know this is going to sound really extreme example, but let's say Lord of the Rings, and let's say all of a sudden, elf is offensive, just to be absolutely out of your mind.
You went with. I mean, I'm not.
Or we can say dwarf. We can say
I was gonna
dwarf.
say,
But I
elf,
don't.
not
I don't. I mean, we could say dwarf. That's fine, because they are a mythological creature called a dwarf, and that's the thing. And then they censor that out, and they call them something completely different. But we've already had this established canon that this is what they're called.
I think that it really depends on, and I think this is a little bit case by case too.
Right. Yeah. I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, I think that it depends. I definitely am. I definitely agree that, to a certain extent, art is art, and we should accept it for the way it was and the way it is, and the good and the bad.
Right. Use it to grow.
At the same time, we do have to also recognize what was the point, and if the entity or group is remaking content, if they're trying to re-release it, if their goal is now, if what was included is now antithetical to their goal, I don't blame them for wanting to get rid of it. For example, I know that Looney Tunes is an easy one that gets mentioned, as they have been very, very much these are a product of their time, and you should recognize them as such. And they don't, these reflect the views of the people at the time, and that isn't necessarily acceptable now. At the same time, a similar example would be this Disney Song of the South.
Yeah. Song of the South was
or it's the one bit from Fantasia where they've just outright kind of censored something that they had in there. I don't really blame them. Disney wants to say, we're not this thing anymore.
Yeah.
We just aren't, and we think that this piece is better because of this removal, and I think I'm okay with that too. But it's hard, especially with things like, again, art as entertainment. And I think one of the reasons Looney Tunes can get away with just continuing to show things as they were, with a bit of a like a warning or a something or other.
I think a warning is fine.
Like-
In my opinion, that should be how it should be handled. Is like, this was a different era. This is a different
Yes.
time. This no longer reflects how we think of us as a company. Because as I was thinking, what brought it to mind for me, and Thunder actually literally just put it in chat, was people I watch all the time, Rooster Teeth. They took a lot of their old videos down and removed them completely because it no longer meshes with the views and standards they have today. But
and I think the big difference there is, if you like Looney Tunes these days, you don't just see it on TV, right? Like, if you want to watch Looney Tunes, you basically have to buy it. Like, there's not really just a way to watch Looney Tunes.
unless it's still on
But
cable,
whereas
like
something-
Cartoon Network is still a thing, right?
I would bet you that the problematic episodes of Looney Tunes probably aren't in circulation.
Oh, so we're talking like the specifically the problematic ones.
I'm saying that they can add a little warning onto their main thing and say, yeah, this has happened, but they can also remove the problematic stuff. But and I think there's a bit of a difference. And in the case of Rooster Teeth, I think they feel guilty about making money off of something that they now don't.
But
That
they've
would not
done
do.
they've done tons of work to donate to tons of different things.
Yeah, and if
So,
they
it's just
if
kind
they
of
wanted
like-
to re-upload everything and say, this now does not reflect our views, but we did not want to edit our content and we didn't want to, blah 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 blah. That would be totally fine.
Yeah.
I would think that would be a reasonable way to handle it. One you may not have heard about is Community, the show. You've seen Community, right?
Yep, my wife just watched
They
it again.
apparently they removed very recently the Dungeons and Dragons episode,
What? That's like the best episode.
because at the beginning of the episode.
Oh,
Chang comes in blackface because he's a dark elf.
Yeah.
And now the
thing.
the problem is, the joke in the show was that, like, everyone's kind of like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And so that's the joke, is that it wasn't an acceptable thing to do, but they did also do it. And I it's one of those things where I think that they could have re-uploaded it with a warning that says, hey, this contains a joke that we now would not do anymore, but also but yeah, how do you say, we think this is fine except for this one bit, but we also think that it's worth it? Like, it's hard. It's a hard thing.
Right, yeah. And then that kind of brings us to video games, and specifically Sony has done a lot of anime game censoring and
Yeah.
not a lot of Western game censoring, which is very interesting that it would go
Yeah.
that way. And we can actually bring this back all the way down to, I mean, one of my favorite games, Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest has been censored like crazy because of a thing called a Puff Puff. And for those who don't know, the original Puff Puff it was actually in Dragon Ball as well. The OG Dragon Ball is when a girl in a bunny outfit takes her boobs and rubs it on your face. That's a Puff Puff. But now it, like, in the Japanese got a hold of the fact that NA was censoring it so much that they started baking in the jokes into the game. Where in Dragon Quest VIII, you go into a Puff Puff at this pub where all the bunny girls are. She takes you to a back room, and it goes dark, and you hear this like squishy sound, and she has two slimes in between your face, and she's just rubbing your face with slimes. It's like they started accepting the joke. But more recently, Sony has been like, no, just cut that shit. It's out. We're done. Get it out of here. But Western games are fine, like Last of Us and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely think that there is a certain amount of, yeah, like, it's definitely weird, and it's nuanced and it's complicated. I think anyone who suggests it's simple is doing a disservice to the whole idea. Like, these things are hard and complicated, and there may not be one right answer, and there may not be any right answer, and yada yada yada. So, like, I think that it is definitely a difficult thing, and I've seen that, and I think Fire Emblem has done that here and there a little bit. with like, here's a really dumb example that was, maybe you could call it censoring if you wanted to. In Fire Emblem Awakening, right, you have two generations of people, right? You have the adults and the kids,
Right.
And the kids are from the future.
Yep.
Spoilers, sorry, it's an old game.
I mean, we've already talked about it. But yeah,
Lucina's in
spoilers for everybody else for Fire Emblem
Smash.
Awakening.
Yeah.
Who plays
But
Fire Emblem games?
Not anyone can have a relationship with anyone else. But one of the things about Awakening is that the parentage of the different kids varies. In particular, the kid is associated with the mother, and the father can change, and the kid inherits traits from the mother, who's guaranteed to be a certain person, or can be guaranteed from, or can come in from the father, who can vary. Silly things like the hair color are inherited from the father, but then also certain skills, that their skill trees over time and stuff.
Right.
Nothing too crazy. But what the specific implication of that is, Crom is one of the main characters in the game, right?
Yes, yeah.
Knows Crom. And then Lissa is the main healer that you have at the beginning of the game, and she is Crom's sister. And Lucina is Crom's daughter.
Right?
And Owain, so Crom is one of the few males who has a kid, right? Robin, regardless of gender, has Morgan, and then Lucina is associated with Crom. Every other child character is associated with a mom first. And Lissa has a son named Owain, who, if I've talked about him enough, I'm a big Owain fan. I think he's great. Without thinking about it, when I was playing Awakening the first time, I was pairing up the different kids. Well, I paired up Owain and Lucina because I thought they made a cute couple, forgetting that they are first cousins.
Whoops. Hey, it's legal in some places. It's fine.
And so that's what it's in the Japanese game. So when you have paired units, you can like look at, there's like a relationship status type indicator on the screen.
Right.
And in the Japanese game, it is just husband-wife. And in the American game, just for Lucina Owain, it says like partner instead. And technically a lot of the couples don't actually say they're getting married. Some of them do. In the case of Owain, I think he gives Lucina a sword or something, and it's not as explicit as like, we are married now, but they're like, I'll stand by your side always, or whatever.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
But in that case, in the Japanese game, they just husband and wife, even though they're cousins. Whereas in the Western release, it just said partner, and it's the only instance of that. Every other pairing is still
right. And I don't necessarily think there's a problem with like tweaking things to kind of go towards the culture that you're like releasing the game to. So for instance, Thunder brought up in Pokemon, they rice balls to donuts for Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, like, that's fine. I have no issue with that. That's fine. It's like, I'm not going to get mad that Pokemon doesn't say rice balls now. It says donuts. Like, I don't really... Yeah, chopsticks and forks, like, those kind of things... Oh, I caught that gnat right out of the air. Those kind of things don't bother me so much. It's like they're tweaking it, or if they tweak a joke in translation that makes more sense to the Western audience than it does to the Japanese audience. Like, the joke might come off better if they just change a couple things, but still kind of keep the context. I get that. That's fine. But like, completely alter, like with Dragon Quest again, they completely altered what a Puff Puff is. The whole scenes got altered and changed completely.
Yeah.
So there's like you said before, it's a case by case. Like, what is going on? What's the context? Does it hurt anybody? What's the intent? What is this stuff? And
yeah,
as we see remasters, maybe in the next 20 years, we might see remasters of games like Horizon Zero Dawn. Will things be completely different? And our robot overlords will be like, change it. Robots were never bad. Change it.
Yeah. I'm definitely curious, and I think that, like I said, I think it's genuinely complicated. I think that it is hard to just say, oh yeah, no. And I think that in general, a lot of people and companies are just being more aware of the decisions they have, and I think that's the attitude to have. It's just
I agree. Yeah.
It's just awareness of it, and I think that some people. I don't want to shit talk anybody, but I think some people oversimplify it and say that creators should be allowed to do whatever they want, even if it's not kosher to everybody. And then some people say, no, they should really be trying to do X, Y, Z and put it in every single game.
It kind of depends. In my opinion,
Yeah.
if you're going to go that hard route, we're trying to do this kind of thing, you need to do it to everyone and everything and not circumvent and focus on one thing.
Yes.
Like, if you're going to make a game and 1850 or something, whatever, you need to make sure that if you're trying to do it, you need to make sure it's accurate and do all that stuff. You can't, like, throw in your own creative liberties, but also say, I'm going to focus on this one thing that was the tone of the time. It's like, it doesn't work. You can't throw in these creative liberties that, like, in the Civil War, they had laser guns, but also, we hate everything. It's like, that doesn't work. You either need to be accurate, or you need to take creative liberties that also adjust things a little bit.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So
Must be it.
that
The pirate ship.
it's interesting because recently
I don't think there's any debate about
they've
that.
released Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the campaign. And that game released in 2007, I think it was. I need to look. I promise this will make sense. Just 2009. Holy crap, was it really 2009? Oh my god, I'm so old. So 2009, we've had 9/11 in America, and we've had all that. We just got over, we were still in a war on terror and all that stuff. And there's a scene in that game. Spoilers for a game that's old, or if you are easily squeamish or offended or whatever, I'm sorry, but it's in the game. You are an American or UK spy. And you are with these, I believe they're Russians. I believe they're Russians. And you go into a airport and you shoot up the airport. It's in the game. And in the original game, they ask you, hey, there's a part in this game. It may offend you. You can absolutely skip it. It is skippable. It won't affect anything. It'll just kind of show a little bit of the story. You'll miss a bit of the story. It'll kind of summarize what happens, like in a loading screen. Or you can play it, and when you play it, you're in first person. You do all that stuff. And they didn't take it out of the remaster. It is still in there. It still asks you the question, hey, there's a scene in this game that you're going to play. Are you easily offended? Will you be offended? That kind of thing. It gives you a disclaimer. And I think it's okay that we do those kind of things, to be like, this is a game that was made in this time, and it has a serious tone to it. Whatever Call of Duty has become now, it sucks. But this Call of Duty, the story was really, really good and had a very serious, overarching tone to it. It was like, we're going to put in an actual act of terrorism. That, and I kind of respect games for sticking to that. As you said, like, it's case by case, and they can't go straight for something. But if they're gonna really do it, they need to make sure they do it correctly.
Yeah.
Also, on a fun. This is a good time to like reset the conversation. We're gonna see probably Joe's favorite part of this game is the little pirates.
And also, I was looking because I thought you somehow missed this Merc Rift. Technically, in one of the final post-game new dungeons, there's a new dungeon that's constructed of pieces from old dungeons.
Oh, so I didn't miss it.
The new Merc Rift is in a piece of that dungeon that's based off of this dungeon.
Okay, so I didn't miss it.
No, you did not. I think there will be one soon, but no, you're good for now.
Oh, that's interesting strategy. I actually didn't know that. Okay.
I think it actually might be next. I'm trying to remember the story. I think it's actually the next dungeon.
Okay. So before we move on to this stuff, strategy actually said that the original part in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was not going to be skippable, but word got out and people got angry about it, and then they made it skippable. So I think I think that is a perfectly good compromise. I think it doesn't affect the game at all, and it doesn't affect anybody else. If they have deep offense on that and they're able to skip it and it doesn't hurt their gameplay, I feel like that's fine, and I feel like we should not be afraid to make those compromises.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that being willing to listen is really important.
I think that's like most of it, right? Just being willing to listen and take the feedback and go, okay, you know what? we'll add this little thing, this little if statement that says if they select yes, skip the cutscenes.
Yeah.
Seems fine.
Yep.
So, all right, here we go. We're gonna do the fun little. We're gonna reset the mood. Do the fun little pirate Moogles, which are great. I love the little pirate Moogles. I think Moogles are a great part of Final Fantasy games, and this is no exception. We're gonna go up here. Ba, 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 ba.
I think we've got
Best
this one
scene.
in the bag.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not so fast, Kubo.
Love it.
Saving pirates, Kubo.
Goopo?
Huh?
Goopo, Goopo?
Did they just call us pirates?
Well, I'd say the pot knows a kettle when it sees it. Kubo! All pots on deck, Kubo! We're outnumbered, Kubo!
You know what, Kubo?
Stop saying Kubo and fight, Kubo! Oops.
Great scene. It's not. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's very good. It's very like
There's only
just
one
on
thing
par
to
with the
do now,
goofiness of the
Kubo.
game.
Guys, we're not here to have
And
fun.
it carries over into the battle.
It's so good.
We're not here to have fun, Kubo. Much the better.
Koopo. I love it. I think it's great. Thunderclap.
This is the end.
Yeah, all right. Now screw him up. I'm gonna BRB real fast. Terrible thing to do in a stream.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. We'll do the battle real fast. It's all good. I want to kick somebody. We're gonna kick this guy. But I do want to, do the streamer thing and shout out. There's been about 3 to 4 of you. Sometimes we've been hitting 5. I really appreciate everybody coming out and just listening to us ramble. Even when we had technical difficulties in the first 30 minutes, we've been going for an hour and a half now. I'm gonna try and keep these 2 hours probably, and I just really appreciate coming out, supporting, and doing all that. It really means a lot. I know there's 1,000,000,010 podcasts that are out there, but it's just something is like. I like to talk, and Joe really likes to talk. Don't tell him. He'll probably hear this later, but he already knows. And it was just something to express and do while in quarantine, because, man, mental health is really, really rough right now. And I just felt like it was something I needed and wanted to do to just get, just kind of like,
That wasn't so
whoosh, and get it, and just interact and have conversations and have fun. So I really appreciate everybody. Thank you very much. It's great. That's it for the streamer plug. The battle is over. Kupo. Kupo. We need a better title, but I kind of like Raw Talkin It. I really kind of do. Because it's kind of funny. I think it's funny, but it's probably not. Somebody, like we were talking about, with she just fell in the water. There it is. People might be able to get offended by it. I don't know. But I really like the title. It's Ferris!
It's Captain Ferris, Kubo.
Captain Ferris, Kupo!
It's created a threshold.
Talking It Raw sounds better. I like Talking It Raw too. Maybe we'll think it out. I think Talking It Raw is also really good. Kitty came up with that explanation, or that title, and I like Talking
That's
It
what
Raw.
she's saying.
Also, for these,
What are you,
I'm all good for
fiends?
criticism and
Too bad.
constructive criticism. Would
If
you
could
guys
grasp
like
the
the
steel
chat
from pirates,
in the
then you
VOD,
know what comes next.
like in the screen? I made myself bigger than I usually am when I do plays like this. Would you also like chat, or would you like me to just reference chat, and you can just take my word for it that that's what you said, because you don't know. I could make it up. Thunder could call me a bitch and nobody would know.
Tana, it's time. Make yourself big.
Huh? Yes, sir. You can do that?
They have so much self-awareness in this game. It's
Okay, I'm
great.
back.
It's so good. The self-awareness is so good.
I do have good news and bad news for you, Andrew.
What's your good news?
You see Sildra there? You actually might be able to win this fight because you're super overleveled.
What's the bad news?
The good news is that you can get Sildra
Well, that's
as an
pretty cool.
XL Mirage. Bad news is it's post game.
Oh, that's okay. We're gonna
and
fly. We're gonna fly through this game. So
the other good news is I am like 80% sure now the next dungeon is the one where you get that one mirage I've been talking about.
Okay,
that
cool.
will be your favorite by a mile.
that sounds great. I like new mirages. I like new Pokemon.
Right?
So, what if they would have added shiny mirages?
I think that would have been too much overstepping with Pokemon.
Okay, I agree.
If they had added variant colors, but not like rare.
They already
Or-
have those though.
Right. No, I mean like, yeah, and that's the thing because Final Fantasy is a JRPG.
Oh,
where they
God.
This
Uh,
is a scripted loss, by the way.
this is what?
This is a scripted loss in the normal game. I was saying you might be able to win because you're over leveled. But basically,
Oh no, I do 0 damage. Okay,
yeah, I think. Oh, you did actually. You can't actually.
I
kill
can't kill her.
That's a bummer. Yeah, it's a scripted loss. I forgot. I told
Oh yeah.
a
Okay.
friend that I would help him with some Animal Crossing things, so I'm gonna do that while we're also talking.
You should be able to talk and play Animal Crossing at the same time, right?
Yeah,
But they're
he's a friend. It's Dylan from work, and so I only talk to him like via texting. So I have to like hold my phone and then jump on my Switch, and I just turn that on and off. It's hilarious.
Also, I mean, so that's actually a pretty good segue. Games of Quarantine. Holy shit, Animal Crossing.
he followed us here?
Like, that game could not have come out at a better time. Holy crap. Like, people were already expecting it to be great and were wanting it because it's the first one in however long. But
Like 6-7 years, I think.
something like that, like 7 years, something like that. But then
I'm
it,
talking about that.
and then it comes out in quarantine, and it's like, I can only do this thing. Must do this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't really care about the story anymore, so we're just gonna fast forward through that. All the jokes of the Koopa stuff is gone now, so.
Yeah, I forgot I had a friend who, like my work friend who, I told him if he came and watered my flowers, he's trying to get a new villager tonight, and so he needs Nook Miles tickets because he used all of his today, but but he didn't get anybody that he wanted.
Yeah. Oh, is this also a scripted loss?
No,
Well,
I don't think so.
I'm doing 0 damage to him.
I mean, maybe it is. He doing much to you? No,
I
he's
killed
not
him
doing-
already. What's my take? So, what's our take on copying games with their own twist? Are we talking like? So the biggest example right now is Temtem is about to release the PlayStation 5. It's on PC. It's very much a Pokemon clone, but it has its own twists.
Yeah, I think it is a difficult thing because, like, on one hand, like obviously I don't want companies to steal other companies' intellectual property or whatever. I looked away and you somehow won that fight. I'm wondering what happened.
It was scripted.
Oh, okay. You just had to exec turns and then.
Yep.
Yeah, no. On the other hand, I also think that Temtem is basically that Game Freak / Nintendo had plenty of time to do what people wanted, and Temtem was like, "All right, we're done waiting. We're just gonna do it instead because you're not doing what people wanted."
Yeah, I think that's a good like. I'm very passionate about the new Pokemon, and I don't think it was that good. I think it was very incomplete. We've had this discussion a billion times, like, and I think it's a thing where, I mean, Pokemon is the most profiting company.
Brand.
Sorry, that would probably be a good clarification. It's the most profiting brand, and they released that game. It was like, huh?
Yeah, I for sure think that Sword
Huh?
and Shield was nowhere near what it could have been. I think it was on par for previous entries in the series, but the issue was that it should have been a huge step forward, and instead it was like a tiny step forward and also some steps back.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it was 2019 when it released, right? Early 2019.
November.
November 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right, because Logan wanted it for Christmas. He bought it with his own money. and it still doesn't have voice acting.
And that would have been forgivable if not
The
for that
low seas.
unpredictable cutscene.
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
Team
boy.
Yell is like this thing,
Okay,
and
so,
this
all we gotta do is
spoilers.
cross the low
If
seas
you don't want
and find
Pokemon
that Valley
spoilers,
of Fire.
one of the gym leaders is a singer, like rock star guy, and he literally does a scene where he like sings to you, but it's just him with an open mouth and no sound playing but the background music. You're like, yeah.
No, there's no music. It's like a foot tapping sound.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is him just tapping his foot. You're right. I made it worse.
There is, I think, some sound like music, but it's just like the city music, and it's like quieter even.
Yeah, and so it's like, this is a terrible scene. This is very bad.
It absolutely was, and the environment, like you see a game like the environment on Pokemon, and then you compare it to something like Xenoblade, or Dragon Quest. Both of them are. I
Oh
think, really
my god, Dragon Quest has such good backgrounds. Like, holy crap.
And don't even get me started on Xenoblade. And this doesn't get brought up very much because I talk all positive about Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Right.
But Three Houses, if you were not aware, during the there are
come see me when you're
cutscenes
ready.
where you do
I'll take you to
the friendship bonding scenes. Basically, all the characters have scenes with all the other characters.
Uh-huh.
And they're actually, the previous DS game also had them fully voice acted, but also this game, they're fully voice acted as well. And you see the character models and they talk and they have dialogue boxes, but the background is like a shitty PNG, but it's made to be like a ring, so it loops around, right? So you can have different camera angles, but you can see the seam. You can see where they stitched like a 2D image together.
That's funny. That's
It's
really funny.
It's really, really bad, and it's like, and it's 2D. It's completely flat, and yet it's curved and distorted. It's genuinely it is the single biggest flaw in Three Houses, and it is frankly unforgivable. They could have had these scenes take place in other places that are already modeled in the game. Like
Right.
you have the monastery. You walk around.
Seems like it was supposed to be replaced, but got forgotten about, and then just like, we released it, and that's what it was.
It's so baffling to me. It has to be one of those things where it was just low tier in the development, and they just had to the game just had to come out, and so they just had to make the sacrifice.
Yeah, that might be what it is.
Which is unfortunate, and it is the single so obvious blemish on that game, because Three Houses, as a general statement, I think is an amazing game top down. I think it is excellent, but that particular aspect is unforgivably bad for a game that is so good. And I think Pokemon is similar. The environment in Pokemon is unforgivably bad in a game where
The breeze is really nice.
you're on the same system as Xenoblade Definitive Edition, which has not just good landscapes, and they also they make reasonable sacrifices too. Like Xenoblade, you can zoom in and you can see some things that aren't great, but
Aren't you just
overall the game
worried
looks
about what
stellar, and it just looks
Krista
so
said?
good. And then you see Pokemon, and
did
it's
they
just
say?
this is just not.
Now that you're
It's just
listening,
This not it, Chief.
Yeah, it's just not acceptable. It
like,
really is.
They don't even have to do full voice acting. Like, you don't have to voice act every single thing, which some games
Xenoblade doesn't.
some games do. Some games do that easily. Like Dragon Quest does it. It's fine. Like the main cutscenes do that. And I don't care about.
NPC talk. You just don't. You don't bother. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Or what I really prefer, honestly, is like when an NPC talks, they say like one word.
River getting more whooshy.
You know, it's like if you talk to them, they say like "Hey" or "How are you?" or "I need help" or something. Like they say one word, but it doesn't actually pertain to what they're saying in their text box. I really like that because it gives them a voice per se, but you don't have to spend all this time voice recording all these other things as well.
I will say I think there is a limit to that. Fire Emblem Awakening.
Ooh,
did
an
that.
anime! I forgot this had anime cutscenes. I'm sorry, I got excited.
No, you're fine. Fire Emblem Awakening
Seas
had
are not safe.
similarly had the one voice line. So all the crit lines and in battle stuff is just cool voice lines, right? But then in those support conversations I mentioned earlier that most of the Fire Emblem games have, in Awakening, they're fairly complicated dialogue. They're talking about potentially heavy things and stuff, and yet it is still just single word stuff, and I think that was a shame.
Is this
In
where we meet
particular-
Titus? Is this where we meet? I think he comes out of the water, right?
No, you're
No, that's not for a while. We're
Rainbow
not.
Shore.
We're not on the beach. Yep.
I
Damn
am
it.
correct. I was correct.
Holy
This is Rainbow
sandwich!
Shore, or it will be very soon. I think you may have a small.
Tama,
You have a little mini
Still
like
with us?
boat dungeon with sharks where you have to dodge around sharks.
Okay.
But then you get the Rainbow Shore, and that has to be you must get to that tonight.
Okay, that's fine. So we're going. We've been going
We're still
for
playing kind of
almost. We've almost going for 2 hours, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I actually am surprised. We really haven't had that much pause. We haven't really had scraping the bottom of the barrel for like. I was a little worried at first to be like, man, it might be
now that
hard
our
to
boat's
just
busted.
talk for
How are we
two
supposed to
and a half
get where we're
hours, and I'm
going?
like, no, it's actually pretty easy. You just keep
I mean,
you going. You know, you don't. You take one topic and you move it on to the next one, and you move it on to the next one, and eventually it just goes into a spiral of hell, and you're like, how do we get here?
and the
Where are
gaps
we?
are filled in by us talking about this game right here.
I think that's great. I think we got a nice formula. Let's just not do what we did in the first couple minutes. And by
Yeah.
couple minutes, I mean, pretty decent chunk. Ooh.
Yeah. Thunder is mentioning Let's Go. Big fan of Let's Go.
I really like Let's Go
Hardcore
Pikachu.
fan of Let's Go.
I got
I
it.
thought it was so good.
I got it for the kiddo as like an introduction to Pokemon. Like, hey, play this. It's the first Pokemon, but it's a little easier to do, and I can play it with you. And he loved it so much that he wanted to buy the new Pokemon. I actually loved it a lot more than I thought I would.
I also
really
we got it. Jaden was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this because why am I not gonna get it? It's Pokemon."
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I was trying to decide if we were going to get both versions or just one. We ended up getting just one because we could both have our own save
looks
file.
like eating Mirages.
But yeah, I was also
Old
shocked
buddies.
at how much I was just like, this is just fun. Like,
Yeah.
there's not. It's just fun. Like, it's not trying to be 100% the normal Pokemon experience, and I think that's good. It innovated in an interesting. It innovated in an interesting way. It made it fresh. Like, I
Yeah.
liked the slightly more involved cutscene where you have a guaranteed Pokemon who's guaranteed to be in the cutscenes.
Yeah, I agree, and I wish Sword and Shield would have taken.
I do think
page
Sword
from
and
the
Shield
book.
did have. I think on the whole, Sword and Shield's cutscenes were better than previous Pokemon games. Previous Pokemon games either didn't have any sort of cutscene, or they were just sprite art in such a way that it wasn't super ideal. I think that it wasn't bad, and it wasn't great, but I think that Sword and Shield's cutscenes were, on the whole, a little better. The introductions to the gym leaders, the Elite Four scenes, I think those were all great, and I don't really have any complaints there, and I'm glad that they were able to do that. Like when you first meet Leon and he does the spin, and you see the Charizard, like that's cool. I liked that. And that's
I
something
agree.
that,
Yeah, okay, I can see that. I agree with that. But man, I really hated how constantly he's referred to as the undefeated champion. Oh boy.
I will also say the
Ugh.
first DLC, Isle of Armor, the cutscenes were full of charm. Kubfu fits that need, right? He's the guaranteed Pokemon that's in all the cutscenes because he is intrinsic to the DLC, and I think that improved in much the same way that having the cutscenes where Pikachu or Eevee run around and do stuff. Kubfu filled that same niche by being the guaranteed thing who is in all the cutscenes, right?
Right.
So I think that was really good, and the characters in the DLC, Mustard is actually pretty darn fun, and
Really this strong.
yeah, I think overall it was good. All right, you're gonna have to fill the void for a second because I gotta both text my coworker and
Yeah.
also continue to redeem.
That's
Miles
not a
gets.
problem at all. One thing that Pokemon game did do pretty well, and I've kind of come around to that we've talked about before, is the music in the game is actually still pretty good.
Oh yeah, and Toad killed it with the Battle Tower theme.
Yeah, like a lot of the game really needed just to be improved upon. I do have to say, I understand the argument of like, oh, they sold us DLC and didn't sell us a brand new game. Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. But at the same time, they still sold us an unfinished game, just like they have in the past.
Yeah,
Back then, I never thought that Sapphire and Ruby were unfinished. I think that we just got a cool new game, and it was great.
Yeah.
And it
I think
added
that-
all this stuff, and it's like, that's pretty cool. Ooh,
I think
this
Gen
is-
5 is probably the best example of being like really good, well polished game because it was all brand new Pokemon, and then also the sequels were like they truly felt like a new game and a new expansion. They were probably the first ones to actually be like that.
I actually died. Holy cow. I can't believe that. I'm pretty far leveled, and I got beat by this little turtle.
This section I think is meant to be avoid all combat or you die. I think it's meant
It
to
says
be
your
like
first. It says your first time, and this is not my first time. So. So the thing. Oh, okay. So you can't catch all possible pokes in Gen 3, right? Yeah. The whole point of the older games was one person bought Sapphire, and your friend or your brother or your sister or your cousin bought Ruby, and then you would trade, and like they sold their proprietary cords, and that's how you get everything. Is you transfer them up from gold and silver, and then you transfer and you trade across. You do all that stuff. Like that was the point. Like they were. They were absolutely trying to sell you proprietary stuff, and that's fine. I don't see. It's not as bad as them selling us that same thing with like black and white, or diamond and pearl, and then diamond and pearl got platinum, and then they do it with black 2 white 2 and all that. You had to do all that. Like they do it twice, so it is what it is.
That was a good fight.
Yeah, no, I mean,
So bad.
yeah, I agree. I think that there's, in some of those sequels, like Emerald had the Battle Frontier, and that felt like
It was
a
great.
whole new thing.
Like Emerald is
And
loved across the board. It's really good.
Platinum drastically changed the story to make it way more interesting. Great
Man,
addition.
right. If
Black
I would
and
have
White
played
2.
Platinum before I played Diamond, I think Gen 4 would have been at least a little better, but it was not.
Platinum,
was not.
or sorry, Black and White 2, or Black and White felt like totally brand new games because they had all new Pokemon, and then Black and White 2 were again, they were just a sequel. It was the first time they'd ever did just a straight up 100%. I mean, I guess
Right,
kind of gold and silver, but not really.
Not really. Yeah, not really. Still good though. Still good.
And then let's see, what was the other one?
There's Heart Gold, Soul Silver, which are incredible.
Yes, though I did not actually. I didn't play them until much later. I skipped them at the time.
They're,
Actually,
they're
I think
so
in
very,
college.
very, very, very good.
X and Y were good, but didn't get the third entry that they deserved.
Yeah, I wish there was more in-game for X and Y. I really, really liked X and Y. I just wish
There
there
was like shiny hunting, and that's it.
Yeah, I did my fair share of that. Ugh. I remember that was fun. Yeah, I think it kind of just comes down to I wish they would have put more in-game. At the same time, I don't want to defend what Pokemon did, but I can kind of understand something that they said, and it's like people play a game and want a more digestible game that isn't as long, that isn't takes all your time, because now we absolutely have way more available to us. Like, we have a huge game market now.
We'd better steer clear of them.
And at the same time, look at how well Persona 5 did. It's a very long, 100-plus hour game, and it's incredibly great. Final Fantasy 15 is an action RPG, but it's also very long. It takes 40, 50 hours,
What was that?
and people love that game. So, ooh, it's Riku! I forgot about this.
I thought I might
Oh
have been seeing things.
yeah.
It's Final Fantasy X-2 Riku, because she has the bikini line available.
My name's Riku.
Also, fun fact, voiced by Tara Strong, who also voices
Man, I wish that Mirage
Twilight
had
Sparkle
been
in
trashed
My Little
ball,
Pony.
'cause I was having a great
Oh,
day of
that's- I need to-
treasure
I know that because
Sure,
my wife
yeah.
and child loved Logan loved My Little Pony when he was like 3 or 4.
I need to share with you. There's a YouTuber I watch, who she recently did a whole video on BronyCon, and she talks how she's always been a fan of the show, and she sort of talks about how she's always been a fan, and so she felt a little ostracized occasionally as people that thought she wasn't a real fan or whatever. But he then reveals partway through the video that she was one of the main, like, I guess it was public knowledge technically, but most people wouldn't know to look it up. There was some like fan
Shall we be on our
fan remix redub of existing MLP content or whatever.
Oops, I thought I was way past him. I was not.
Anyways, that apparently she was like there were like 2 people that created it, and she was one of them. So she was actually one of the people behind this like huge big deal like online MLP fan thing.
Interesting.
I don't know how to describe it. So I thought that was I need to share it with Kenny at some point. I think he would find it kind of interesting and funny because she doesn't say too much negative overall. She mostly just talks about BronyCon. Anyways, we'll stop talking about YouTube recommendations.
Yeah, we're supposed to be plugging our own thing, right? We're not supposed to be recommending stuff. That's not actually true.
Jenny Nicholson is great. She's absolutely wonderful. But yeah, no. Let's talk about. I really want you to get through this dungeon so you can see this new Mirage, because it's one of the ones. I think by this point you had texted me, "Stop telling me Maxima spoilers."
Oh,
so
yeah.
This one to you.
Yeah.
I've told you a little bit about what it does tonight, but I never actually shared what it does.
I'll try to get to
or shared what it looks like, and I think you're going to be a huge fan.
All right, let's do some healing real quick because I would be able to beat these guys.
These are meant to be. Yeah.
I would be able to beat them if I had like my like really high level team, but I don't, and so here we are.
Yeah, these guys are meant to be, like you're meant to dodge all of these, and if you get into a fight with them, you're gonna die.
Right. This is meant to be on New Game Plus. You can kill them if you want to if you use your high level team, but you're not.
Well, the original base game didn't have New Game Plus.
Dang it, I ran into one anyway. I'm so good at this. I'm so good at gaming.
This section was hard.
Such an embodiment of a gamer.
Bark, no bite.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm very loud, and then I'll back off like a little child. Yeah, God, everything about this game was so good, and it was so much longer than I thought I was getting.
Oh yeah, and yeah, if you want to talk about game length, I'll talk about how the fact that I love a really good long game, but I'm also kind of tired of every good game I like being really long.
Yeah, that's actually a really good segue into it. I just ran into this guy too. Holy shit, my face is apparently huge. So Pokemon says, people want smaller, digestible games, and like, in some sense, yes. Not every game needs to be small and digestible. There can be very good long games, as I said before, but not
Xenoblade.
Right, yeah, not every. I agree. Not every game needs to be that way. Like God of War is a really great game, and it's only like 20 hours, I think, to beat the whole 20-30 hours to beat the whole storyline.
I mean, Thousand Year Door is an RPG game that it's like 25-30 hours long.
All right, yeah, Thousand Year Door.
Origami King was like, I think I had 40 hours of playtime, but I'm also I am not a fast gamer anymore. Not by a mile.
Well, I mean, life kind of just gets in your way,
Well, and also I also have a habit of like leaving the room to go make dinner or go to the bathroom or whatever, and the game is on for an hour while I'm doing other things.
Right. I mean, life just kind of comes up. It's completely different. Like, it's different from when we could get home from school, play the game until mom says we have to do our homework or eat dinner.
Right.
And then that's what we did.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, I got off work. I got to get home. I got to do my chores. Got to clean up the house. Got to let out the dogs. Got to make dinner. By the time I sit down and play a game, it's 6:30, 7, and then something also probably comes up that I have to do in the middle of a gaming session.
I'm pretty lucky that my home life is still very much gaming, the hobby I have, but it's also the only hobby I have.
Right. Yeah. I technically have two hobbies. But they're both gaming related.
To watch a single TV show, so
yeah,
and I haven't read a book in years, and you get the idea.
I don't even want to touch that. I don't think that I think the last book I read was Warm Bodies back in college. And that I've been graduated for 6 years now. How long have we been graduated for, Joe?
5.5. I will absolutely break that habit. I believe there's a Merc Rift in this room. There's also a chest that's really easy to miss right there. It's on the screen right now. But no, there's a book series that I really, 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 really love, and I read the first 2 books, and I will absolutely, break my streak of not reading books when the 3rd book comes out. But it'll be after I die. And that would be the Name of the Wind, the Kingkiller Chronicles. You have to be tall to get that chest.
There it goes. I was just the wrong person.
Yep. And then there's your Merc Rift, I believe.
What level is it?
It shouldn't be bad.
32? I could probably do it still.
Let me look up. It's a. Let me look at. Before you go into. Oh, you're already.
Oh my god, it's so cool!
Is it the right one? Is it the right one? It's the right one! You need to use fire, ice, or thunder attacks.
Oh, I have those.
So you need to unstack, and hopefully you have one of those skills.
I have thunder for sure.
Hopefully not on Lawn or Rain.
No, no, it's not with them. Okay, so we'll unstack here. Oh, he gets to go. That's not great.
So, oh yeah, unstacked Mel will have Thunderclap or whatever.
Yeah,
and he should be still
he
fairly
has.
low.
I gave him thunder, I believe.
Yeah.
No, we'll just defend.
Mel is all thunder.
We'll just defend.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Kingkiller Chronicles is absolutely one. The first book is my absolute favorite book of all time. I still recommend all my friends read it, and I think it is wonderful.
Oh, so here's a problem.
You're not getting it?
I can't. I don't have enough
AP.
So I can hit with fire, right?
Fire, ice, or thunder.
Yes, thunder. This is like Persona or Shin Megami Tensei when you have to hit it with a certain thing. Not fire. Fire does not work.
Maybe you have to hit it with all 3. It's technically the text I'm seeing says use fire, ice, and thunder attacks. So maybe you actually have to do all 3.
Yeah, I might have to do all 3. Fire,
make sure
ice.
You can always heal him. You already did thunder, so you need to do ice, not water.
There it is. Yep, you have to hit him with all 3.
Yeah. Now, catch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
You might actually be able to build up the. Now that you've done 1, you might be able to continue to do attacks. If you recall the catch rate, there's a way to like stack it up.
I can maybe throw another item at him. Fire. We'll do small.
Yes, definitely do small. Do not lose this guy. I think technically once you beat them or something, they're in the Coliseum and you can get another one. But
so there's fire. I need thunder.
I would try to do it again.
Ice, right?
Yeah, those were the 3. Just like I said, make sure you don't accidentally kill him.
Got it.
And make
Yep.
sure
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Dang, he's a tough little bugger.
Yeah.
We're gonna high potion that stack over there because they're covering a lot.
Yes, this guy was absolutely my favorite numeron.
Come on, get in the ball. I mean, the prism. I mean, trademark copyright claim item here. I don't think I want to do a 3rd stack. I think.
No, I don't think you do. I mean, unless you have a healing item and you can use the healing item on.
Oh, I can potion him, can't I?
Yeah, should be able to. And technically, that little glowing circle can go away, and you have to like regenerate it.
Yeah, it can. All right, so I'll hit him with fire again. So bomb fragment. Oh, that's not good. Oh, and then electro marble, and then I'll actually try to imprison here instead.
Yeah.
Little shithead. And then fire, right? Or no, ice. Ice.
Yeah.
Get in the ball. Got him.
Yeah.
No trouble at all.
All right.
He is the best.
Is he a
I
small?
love him so much. He's a small, yep.
Dang, does that mean I have to replace Panini?
Yeah, I would replace, if I were you, honestly, I'd replace Mel or Ponini.
A Bahamut still caught in the throes of adolescence. Oh my god.
Nice with teeth.
That's hilarious! Oh my god, that's so good! I love it! Alright, you know, oh, it has light flare. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it has.
Oh, it
has
makes
a-
sense. Bahamut. I get it. Ha!
It's a tiny Bahamut.
I
that
get
has-
it. Oh my
teeth
god. That's
And
so,
all the elemental attacks.
that's so good.
And again, he has Sizzle, Freeze, and Zap, or whatever the.
That's
different,
fantastic.
overlords.
That's so very, very good. You know what? I'm actually going to replace Kuba Karoon with it. Because
Yeah.
we're actually not using him. So, and you know what? I think that's actually a pretty good time. It's almost 9 o'clock. We've been going for 2 hours. 2 hours and some change. Even with this hour and 45 minutes. If we count the hiccup. I feel like it's a pretty good time to wrap up our episode 0, really. That is now, it was supposed to be episode 1, but it's now episode 0. From someone's fault who will remain nameless at this point in time and will probably be brought up later on. I had a blast. I think this was a great time.
Yeah, I'm willing to do this again.
So our plan, when I pitched this idea to Joe, like on Tuesday, no, it was on Wednesday. It was yesterday that I pitched it to you, and I was like, dude, I just want to do this. This will be fun. We were thinking that we'll do stuff like this specifically, this Raw Talkin' It or Talkin' It Raw or whatever the fuck we're gonna call this thing. Eventually, who knows? We'll be doing these every single Thursday. We might have to maybe like push it to a Friday or do a Wednesday, depending on if something. But we're gonna really try. I'm gonna pencil it in on me so that I always know that I'll be here and doing it. And then I take the VOD and it'll just be complete unedited footage, just directly uploaded to YouTube. So if you missed something, if you came and went, we can do that. And we'll have to figure out something to talk about next week because we talked about a lot of. But man, I could talk about video games and Final Fantasy for hours. Like it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, you were like, we don't want to just talk about video games. I'm like, we can just talk about.
We can just talk about video games. Let's be real. We have a lot to say about video games. I mean, I think for next week, I do kind of want to talk about some of the games that I'm looking forward to in terms of like with the new console and just some of the games that are going to be releasing on PS4 even in the next couple of weeks and so. So I think that'll be kind of fun to do.
Next week, we either will have to just continue this, or I'll have to make you buy Baba Is You.
I think we'll
rack your brain.
We'll do this for a little while.
Sure.
Just to kind of so we get in the swing of things, get in the motion of things. I will say, as a streamer myself, I will still be doing other streams. I'll still be doing Smite or playing Fall Guys with Joe and Max and friends from you've probably seen from streams. So I appreciate everybody. I had a great time. I will be ending stream and probably talking to Joe for a little bit. And if you guys have suggestions, you can join Discord, have suggestions, or message me on Twitter or something. Do something like that. Go follow Joe on Twitter as well. I believe it's just @possiblyjoe. Right?
Let me check. I don't use. I don't have very many Twitter followers. So
yeah. So if you
I think I'm might be Joe. Let me see what my home
Nope.
is.
Yeah, you're at might be Joe
with underscores.
Yep, might be Joe. So I'll put that in the chat.
I do not tweet much, but I do like a lot, and it's like 95% not politics, so it's okay.
Yeah. So
It's mostly fan art.
make his day. Go give him at least one increased follower because I'm sure he'll feel good about himself as he falls asleep tonight. So I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Take care.